Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to a very impromptu extreme stream from Real Crypto. Mark, you can say good afternoon now. It's probably legitimately afternoon. Constantine, hello, my friend. Creative, haven't seen you in a while. How you doing? How is everyone? Just thought I'd jump on here, see what's going on. I know we're kind of have a bit of a change in Bitcoin, kind of altcoin season coming up now. Looks like it's a little bit of an altcoin season. Johnny B, what's up, Johnny B? Been a long time. And Bob's still in Alberta. That makes sense. Well, I don't know if we accidentally missed the bottom here, Polly. It doesn't really, one big green bar does not make a bottom in the same way that, one big red candle does not make a top. So a bottom is made by a sequence of events, and we haven't had a true washout in cryptocurrencies yet. So to be honest with you, my personal opinion, my general feeling, is that we are still due a big capitulation move at some point in time. It's just not quite here yet. But that does not mean that we can't get a nice bounce, and that doesn't mean that we can't have maybe a nice longer higher consolidation to kind of trap a bunch of bulls in there before we end up rolling over. So we'll have to see how that works out. But this is a bit of an, I thought we may pop up. I didn't think it would be quite that aggressive. My advice as of late has just been avoid Bitcoin, and that kind of, if you were watching this real time, obviously it was a pretty obvious buy. If you were watching this in real time, I was asleep. It happened really early in the morning, and yeah, I wasn't able to partake in this. Oh, it looks like we're bouncing a little bit here, getting towards those highs, most recent highs, I should say. Hey, Bob, thanks, buddy. They better be American 5 and not Canadian 5. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Um, Actually, a little bit of a funny story. The guys here that are in my power hour can attest to you. I was telling everyone to buy Bitcoin right down here, and I was actually going to buy Bitcoin, and then it got away from me, and I kind of missed my opportunity there. So we were talking about buying Bitcoin down here towards the 76.20-ish level, I will say. So, but even right now actually isn't a horrible time to maybe get involved. You can anticipate some further upside movement. I actually think this move does have some legs. There's nothing about this that says that this buying was a one-time event. This could be, multiple time event. If you do want to invest in Bitcoin, I think now is a good time to invest in Bitcoin. But again, you have to keep in mind we're still deep in a bear market. All right, we are still deep in a bear market, and you know what? Like I said, one day does not make a bottom, but a series of good days can make a bottoming area. So I'll just say that. So if you do want to get involved in Bitcoin, odds are you sold off. If you've been following me for some time, you probably sold off in the 9,000 level. This is not a bad area to get into Bitcoin, all right? But you do have to have some stop losses in place just in case we get the inverse of this, which is, a big downward movement while we're all sleeping. All right, let's go through some chat. See if you've got any good questions. Yes, Johnny B, definitely not quite capitulation yet. This was a short squeeze. Says ironic. Yeah, that is the news that this was a short squeeze. If you look at if we look at these, there's actually BTC. There's a chart that I haven't. Okay, here we go. Bitcoin shorts. This is supposed to show you the general shorts. And if you look here, those shorts just got clobbered. All right. Now, to be honest with you, I don't know 100% if this refers to the number of shorts, because we're not at $40,000 Bitcoin. It could be 40,000 Bitcoins shorted, sold off down to 24,000. So this rally could just be short covering, but the subsequent follow through will not. This will probably be some actual buying. Now, how aggressive it is a different story. So Sean says, to retest. This is that guy with the long name who says we already hit bottom. So here's the thing. Like I said, like I said, you can get involved in Bitcoin here. I don't personally believe it's the bottom, but if I'm wrong and you want to buy Bitcoin, we're starting to miss a decent opportunity. Like this was your best opportunity, but there was no reason to buy Bitcoin down here. There's no legitimate reason to buy Bitcoin. We saw Bitcoin, believe it or not, everyone may have forgotten about it, but we saw Bitcoin actually sell off, right? We saw Bitcoin sell off, but the volume wasn't really big, and then it just reversed and had massive volume and continued upward. And we're continuing upward right here. The whole is this is all you guys, right? I just want to make this clear. This is everyone here buying Bitcoin. It's headed. So Sean says in a little bit later, it's headed back up after at 11.5k. It's confirmed bull trend. I'll be profiting all the way up. Yeah. So from here to 11.5, if we get there, that's a big market, right? That's a big rally. That's a big rally. Now, let's go through some charts and then I'll see if we can maybe try to ascertain what we could get here to the upside. Jay, how you doing, man? Yeah, I know I don't do a lot of the live streams. I haven't for a while now. Haven't for a while now. One whale can destroy good technical analysis. You know what? That is true. You can have some good technical analysis and a whale can destroy it. That being said, however, that whale only has so much money and that whale will run out of money at some point in time. So generally, it's not one whale that reverses a market. It's the general consensus of the market participants. And this is what could be one of the legs for a potential reversal. Now, again, I don't think this will be a longer sustained rally. Well, let me rephrase that. I think it will be a longer sustained rally, but I don't think it's the ultimate bottom. It doesn't, the chart pattern, the action really doesn't scream, hey, this is a bottom. It just doesn't. What's up, Vlad? Everyone say hi to Vlad. So Ironic says there, basically a short a short squeeze doesn't usually lead to a bullish follow through. So you would generally be correct, but there's something interesting happening here. So first of all, you see this kind of big rounding brush stroke that I made here. I mentioned this a couple of times. This and then the declining volume. The fact that we've been very wide here. This was, I think, like over a week. This is almost 2 weeks of pretty sideways action. Now, I would actually like to see increased volume down here to indicate some kind of a bottom, but we didn't get that. What we had is kind of a rounded bottom and then an up thrust. But this rounded bottom suggests that the sellers have kind of gone away. You can notice the volume overall declining, bulls and bears, and that's what I was saying. And that's why I was saying as we were floating up here, and I think I even mentioned it over here. I don't know if it was in a video or in my Slack chat room or in the Power Hour, but we were talking about I was saying over here, I'm like, you know what? Maybe best to avoid Bitcoin. I'm like, if you have to get in, you have to short it. Short it is at double tops here, and that worked until we reversed. But that's what stop losses are for, guys. That's why we have stop losses in case a trade doesn't work out. Shit happens. Excuse my language there. But yeah, so we reversed, and so keep this in mind, even if this is short covering, there's going to be some algorithms out there, because this big candle here blew through several levels, and it's going to bring in some buying algorithms, okay? It's going to bring in some buying algorithms. It's going to bring in some buying individuals. The question is, will it completely follow through, or will it do what it's always done and, just kind of languish and then roll over? Like, we had a nice big up thrust over here as well, if you recall, from some lows, and we kind of had a head and shoulders pattern put in here, and then we continued and rolled over. So this is looking a little bit more bullish, to be quite frank with you, if it can stay up. If it starts to pull back in, then that's not so good. Ideally, what you want to see is this nice sideways action and then it popping up. That would be ideally what you would like to see. So Christian says, once it reaches this blue line on my graph, isn't that the trust test to see how things will progress more long term? So yes and no. Okay, yes and no. If we do our market history, if we do our market history, we go back to 2013. This was something we were doing in the Power Hour here. If you guys don't know about my Power Hour, I do an hour every single day in the morning for the community members, and we go over pretty much everything. We go over all kinds of stuff, cover all kinds of topics. But we were talking about this potential up thrust. You see this really nice big volume candle here, right at this point, and it had a nice rally. I mean, Bitcoin rallied like 40% off of this to the ultimate high, but holding through this would have been a little difficult because it did have a couple of well, it did have one leg down, then another leg up before it finally started to roll over. So you can anticipate, maybe until the ultimate high, 10 days worth of decent upward movement here. Who knows exactly how high it's going to go? Who knows exactly how high it's going to go? I don't know, but we could get up and test a prior high, maybe up here at 9,200, something like that. Maybe even as high as 9,800, coming up to 10,000. I don't know exactly. There's no great analysis that I know of. Maybe we can try to draw some Fibonacci retracements. We can try that. Let's try that. I don't do that often. However, you never know. Okay, so Fibonacci, if we come to the 61, we're at 9,800. The 50% level, which is not a Fibonacci level, by the way, comes right to that 9,200 I was referring to. Oh, they're saying 9,100. Okay, they're saying 9,100. So, and possibly up here to 10.6 at the 78.6 level. If you want to, think of where this possibly could go in terms of retracing this entire move to the downside. So those are some potential levels, really lining up with the charts here, the fibs and the charts. And that's something I've always noticed, is that sometimes you use all these other indicators, the charts show you the same thing. So can it still go to 3,000? Yeah, it still can go to 3,000. Like I said, I've been saying for a long time, my ultimate bottom analysis leads me to a potential 3,600 to 2,400, 3,000 a nice round number. What's up, Casey? How you doing, Casey? So 3,000 is a nice round number, and some other analysis leads you there as well towards the 3,000 level. We definitely still can get there. Like I said, one big up bar does not a bull market make. And here's the other thing, ladies and gentlemen. If you view this in terms of altcoins, this is what I've been referring to as a first pop. So out of these bottoms, you have these big up thrusts, and then what happens next? Does it break out? Does it roll over? So you have to wait for volume to come back into the coin. You don't just willy-nilly buy on this first pop. Now if we go down here on the 15-minute time frame, so we can see we're trying to make a move here, and the fact this bar closed up here is fairly bullish, but we did also close below this blue line. So we'll see what happens here. But overall, this is bullish action on the lower term time frames, which is very healthy. That's very healthy action. I feel like I'm missing a bunch of comments. I'm just going to kind of scroll down here. Here's an interesting question here. I'm going to point that out. Mark says, anyone that hasn't already joined the Power Hour is missing out. And that's from a gentleman that, doesn't know what time zone he's in. Just joking, Mark. Just joking. All right, what do we got? Interesting question here about EOS from I'm sorry, I don't want to butcher your name there. Alexi, what do you think about EOS? Personally, not a supporter nor against it. Just interesting. What a knowing person thinks about it. So I just did a video on EOS. Actually, I just did a video, and I have a community member, 1981, and he is apparently an EOS guru, and he gave my video a rating of good, which is good. He gave my video a rating of good. I almost. After seeing some of his comments on the video, if you guys do watch that EOS video, scroll down, look for 1981's comments. They're good. He does mention a few things that I missed. Now, again, that it wasn't a super deep dive into EOS. It was just to get you familiar with it. But my personal thoughts on EOS. Ooh, I was looking at IOTA. IOTA continuing its move. Altcoin season, ladies and gentlemen. Altcoin season. So here's EOS. Let's go back out to the daily. So I think that EOS has some promise. Now this is depending if you want to do this for a trade or if you want to do this as an investment. Okay. So and here's the thing too: when cryptocurrencies finally had these big moves, that's when everyone gets interested in them. Like if we go to CoinMarketCap, which by the way we're over 300 billion market cap, which we have not cracked for quite some time. That's been a ceiling. We have lots of projects here. You guys remember when Cardano was running and it was up towards, $30 billion? I think everybody wanted to sell their firstborn child, their wife, their car, and their house for some Cardano. Well, now it's worth $5 billion, and you really don't hear a ton about Cardano. We still understand that it has potential to have a good quality blockchain, and so does EOS. All right, so, from a trading perspective, I wouldn't be getting involved right now. And we were talking about this in the power hour since we hit this top here. You don't get involved when you're sitting at a resistance point. And it's just generally not a good thing to do. Could blow past it, but after such a big run up, you are due some kind of a pause. And you can buy off of that pause, though. You can buy coming out of that pause. But off of this huge run up, you don't buy when we're way up here. So that's it from a trading perspective. From an investment standpoint, as we all know, EOS has had, maybe you don't know, but EOS has had about a year-long ICO. All right, what that means is that EOS is not a real thing right now. It is being tested, but you can't legitimately run anything on EOS. It doesn't really exist in the real world. So what you're buying right now is the potential for something. They've also raised about, maybe $2 to $3 billion at this point. I don't have the exact figure, but they've raised well over $1.5 billion. And there's a concern that it's just a money grab ICO. There's a concern with some of the guys at the top, and maybe with good measure, maybe not. Maybe it's a good concern, maybe it's not a good concern. In the end, if the tech works, then I think EOS could be one of the blockchains between Ethereum, EOS, and I got, someone else in the comments said, you can't compare EOS and Ethereum. I'm like, calm down. Okay? You can compare anything together. I can compare, grass to a rock. It's not going to be a great comparison, but it is going to be a comparison. And these are both blockchain platforms. They have different use cases. So, EOS is going to be, they call themselves the operating system of the blockchain. Okay? They call themselves the operating system of the blockchain. And whatever that means, I don't know what that means. The internet doesn't have an operating system. You write apps and the internet serves those apps. I don't know what this means, what you can write specifically on EOS, but if it proves to be successful and scalable and all that good stuff, it will be a valuable platform. Whether that turns into token value is a different issue. What does a guy with Bitcoin bought at 11,000 buy more to average down or wait? Thanks. So Terrence, I'm not sure if you're familiar with my channel or what I do, because I think it's important. If you're going to listen to people and input, take some input. I'm not going to say take advice, but take input from people. I think you should understand their perspective. So you bought it at 11,000. You're still holding it. So my job, I view it, is to save people money and to stop them from making mistakes that everybody makes. And this is a mistake that everyone makes, is holding a 28% loss. Okay, so right now I would hold on to Bitcoin. I would hold on to it. If we bounce up, if we do get higher towards the 10,000 level, something like this, and you start to see like a bunch of big red candles coming in, or you start to see what's called stalling action. It's hard to explain in a video in a few minutes, but I suggest selling it. I would suggest getting rid of your Bitcoin, to be quite frank with you. Now, again, notice that was predicated on the stalling action. Okay? I believe, and I think it's proven, the people that don't understand technical analysis or think chart reading is garbage, I don't think they've actually done enough homework. You can imply what a coin is going to do based on price movement, based on volume movement, things of that nature. All right, so as we get higher and we start potentially rolling over, I think you distribute those coins and take a small loss. Right now you have a larger loss. I think hopefully, I don't know about hopefully, but I think this does move higher. over the next couple of weeks. And I think you probably could distribute those coins at, like I said, about the 9,100, 9,200 level, maybe towards $10,000. I would distribute them up there. But right now, I would just wait and hold. All right. Now, if we bail out below the 6,000 level, like say this just reverses, which it probably won't, but if it does, and we get down below like these most recent lows, to be honest with you, I would just bail out. And now again, I don't know, so maybe that's dangerous advice. I don't know what your investment strategy is. Are you a long-term holder? Are you a shorter-term trader? I'm assuming a long-term holder since you have it from 11,000. But I would cut my losses at some point if we have very weak action to anticipate a lower buy, and that way you can at least increase your Bitcoin position. If you're not comfortable doing that, then just feel free and hold it. Just feel free to hold it and wait it out. I do think Bitcoin will be back at these levels sometime later in the year, to be honest with you. I do believe that. I'm pretty sure okay, not too many more comments. All right, going down here towards the bottom again, guys. How does Bitcoin, Ron OCS? What's up, Ron? Pete, what up, buddy? Stop loss. I'm going to address Pete's question because Pete's a nice guy. If you buy Bitcoin now, where would you place a stop loss? So I probably wouldn't buy Bitcoin this second because we just had that up thrust. We were actually looking at it as it was thrusting up, and that was a decent place to buy. Right now, it's going to base out again. You would buy it on the breakout above these most recent highs as it breaks out, or if it pulls back and you have some bottoming action similar to what we had here, then I would buy back then. Yeah, I definitely would not be buying right now. It's going to consolidate right now is what it's going to do. But your stop could be down here at the 76.35 level. Ideally, if you want to give this the most room possible, you want to give it down below this most recent low, maybe the 75 and change level, or 75. Floyd says, that's effing terrible advice. You haven't lost until you sell. I want to bring up a chart for you here, Floyd, and this isn't akin necessarily to Bitcoin, but just talking about that in general, I would like to bring up a chart for you, my friend. This is VRX. This was a stock that was touted the next coming of Jesus in terms of pharmaceutical companies. Its high was 263. You could have bought it anywhere upwards of $50 to 263. And right now you'd be holding at $16 if you have that perspective. Okay? If you had that perspective, you would still be holding VRX at $16. And say you bought 10 shares of VRX at $150 for easy math. You'd have $1,500. Now you'd have $160. Or would you? Because you haven't sold. So do you still have $1,500? So that is actually false. That is actually false. You're misinterpreting what I'm saying there, Floyd. Floyd's saying, so you're saying it will never go back past where he bought it. I never said that. I never said that at all. What I said was that I believe, and I've mentioned this before, if we get up towards 10,000 and you see some distribution behavior, you bail out on that for a small loss. We will get back up towards 11,000. I think we'll get back there maybe later this year, early next year. Yeah, Valiant Pharmaceuticals. Very good. Valiant, whatever you want to call it. So, anyway, to be clear, I view Bitcoin as a little bit of a different beast, than a lot of stocks, okay, and even a lot of altcoins, because Bitcoin is in a very unique place. All right, Bitcoin is in a very unique place. If you have the patience to hold for 6 to 9 to 10 months to recoup your investment, and you're not a very active trader or don't necessarily understand how to read charts, then yeah, probably holding Bitcoin would probably behoove you or do you good. I am a more active trader and I definitely understand how to read charts. All right, so we were talking, I sold Bitcoin here at both of these tops. We shorted it all the way down here. We made money on the way up. I mean, we're not perfect traders, but we generally get the tenets of the market. And if we get higher and start to roll over, I would want to take that off of the table and then reload as we get lower. And then if I'm wrong, then you rebuy a little bit higher, and it's, really no harm, no foul. So Randy, being a TI Pro, do you not think the current daily 4-hour on BTC looks totally out of place? This is a pump that will ultimately result in a big slap down. So there's two things battling there, Alexander. Number one is this: you have to go with the market. There's like the number one rule is you go with the market, even if I think it's bearish. If you have a propensity to go long Bitcoin, this is a decent place to go long Bitcoin. Whether it is the ultimate bottom, whether these two areas are the ultimate bottom. Okay, let me rephrase that. Number one, you go with the markets, okay? So no matter what you think or I think or anyone thinks, Bitcoin right now has a very nice volume candle. This is a very nice volume candle. You shouldn't ignore it. You shouldn't FOMO into it, but you shouldn't ignore it. What you should do if you have a propensity to go long Bitcoin and you want to hold for a longer period of time, okay, you get in at a decent price, like at a breakout point, okay, and then if the market shows you distribution as we get higher, as we get towards those resistance areas, then you can, take that position off of the table, okay? Now, let's say this is the bottom, because ladies and gentlemen, I don't know if this is or is not the bottom. All I can say is that Bitcoin's going up, That's all we can say right now. We can say it looks like in the charts that it could come up to this 50-day moving average, which I've said in the past. Actually, I think my last video. We could come up to the 50-day moving average and roll over. That's a completely valid scenario, but it hasn't happened. It hasn't happened. What's happened is we have a nice pump in Bitcoin on good volume, and we're seeing a little bit of follow through. If you want to get involved, fine, do that. Get involved at a good price point. Have a very reasonable place where you will exit Bitcoin in case this move fails. But if it continues, we can, keep adjusting the plan accordingly. Bitcoin will eventually go negative. That's funny. Chazar is saying that I lost all my patience with this manipulated market. So to be honest with you, these markets are not manipulated, ladies and gentlemen. This is simple trading. This is nothing but price action. Is trading. There is no manipulation in terms of the price. They can try to manipulate the news. They can try to come out with futures, but they can't manipulate the actual price. This is real buying, real selling on real exchanges. And it just is what it is. It just is what it is, and you have to accept it. And you can't let your feelings, thoughts, or emotions get in the way. All right, guys, going to get out of here in about 10 minutes or so. Kind of a quick extreme stream here. Just thought I'd jump on. Everyone's talking about Bitcoins. Are there any altcoins that you guys are maybe looking at taking a position in? Because keep in mind, while Bitcoin's running, all the other altcoins are going too. I want to address Michael's thing. He did not sold there. He said all systems go and Bitcoin crashed on after his advice. LOL. So Michael has a decent point. In full disclosure, so let's go down to the 2-hour chart. But you are incorrect. I actually did sell there, believe it or not, after I made that video. So I made the all systems go video right about here. Okay, so let's look at this chart pattern and think about what I told you. We make decisions based on the price and the volume analysis. Okay, so look at this candle right here, and you can go back and watch those videos. I haven't deleted them. They are there. Not my finest moment, but again, we go with the markets, guys. We go with the markets, okay? I'm not a freaking fortune teller. I read charts. Okay, so all systems go here. What happened is we had a big run up in Bitcoin. We had a little cup with handle here. The volume was really good and a nice green candle breakout. That is a definition breakout. And then a few hours later, Bitcoin got slapped down. Okay, Bitcoin got slapped down. I entered a trade, I think I actually entered it on this bar. I was sleeping, I think, when that happened. And then Bitcoin got slapped down, and I don't know where I exited, but I don't remember if I took a loss, a small loss or a small gain. But when I saw this action here after I made this video, I changed my mind, reversed my position, and then put out a subsequent video essentially apologizing for the previous video. But ladies and gentlemen, this is trading. If you want me to sit here and be 100% accurate, you're going to be sorely misled by me or anyone else. No one is going to be 100% in any of these markets, ladies and gentlemen. Nobody. I made the call with the analysis at the time. Even though I was still generally bearish on the market, we talked about a larger head and shoulders, but that was just a theory, and this was the first potential breakout, and this is what's called a bull trap. It's what's called a bull trap. You trap the bulls in, you sell it off, and look at that volume. You don't have this volume when you're looking at the chart here. You have this volume. So yes, Michael, in full disclosure, I did make a video here called All Systems Go. At the time, it was all systems go. Well, guess what? Even jets take off. Sometimes when jets take off from the aircraft carrier, sometimes they crash in the ocean directly afterwards. And that's trading, and that's life. So Floyd said, reading his question, he's long, not a trader. I see where you're coming from, but that's not what he asked. Yeah, so maybe I didn't read his question correctly or infer it properly, or maybe I did make a mistake in answering that. I don't want to do harm, to be honest with you. I don't want to FUD or FOMO anyone into doing anything. He asked my opinion. I gave it, I gave it. So, and that's what I would, if you're going to listen to me, who's a technical analyst, if you come to me and say, hey, look, if you come to me with no details, I have to make stuff up. If you post a question with a lot of details, I can give you a more detailed answer. So maybe I probably did, answer his question not to the best that could have been, but he was in at 11,000. I would offload it as we go higher. I would wait for it to go lower, and I would reload. That's what I would do. Okay. Isan wants to look at Steam there. Let's go ahead and look at Steam. IoT looking great right here. Alt season, ladies and gentlemen. Looks like it's alt season. All right, so Steam has a couple of candles here. Looks like it's attempting to break out. Let's go. Can't believe I'm going to go all the way back down to the 15-minute chart. Yeah, WAN. We were looking at WAN in the power hour, saying it's one of the more healthy ones. What's up, Robert? Robert's in the house. Steam on the 15. Let's go to the 2-hour. So I'm not liking these big wicks right here. I would definitely wait for this to flag out and have a longer consolidation. There's definitely some selling up here, some distribution. I would avoid Steam right now. This is a very nice cup. Maybe we're due a handle, but I would avoid right now. Yeah, WAN. I think I've got WAN up here in one of my charts. Here's WAN. Yeah, so we were talking about WAN in the power hour, and we were talking about it before this broke out. And one thing I mentioned with WAN is that when Bitcoin had its drop and then its subsequent upthrust, WAN didn't do a whole lot. WAN really held its own. It stayed here, stayed steady, and now it's rewarding those holders with some subsequent upside movement. Now, something about WAN and ONT and some of these newer ICOs is that they don't have all the FUD from the past. They don't have all the 2017 drama being up 7,000% and then crashing 90% and having bag holders from 3 months ago. Guys, these are brand new issues. That's why these are running. They're brand new issues. These are the most bullish coins in the market. These are the best moves you're going to get is these most recent ICOs. Yeah, thanks there, Robert. Yeah, it's kind of good little audience here. And for those in my audience, yeah, go ahead and check out. If you like what we do here at Real Crypto, you can check out the Real Crypto Power Hour. So every day, 7 days a week, we talk an hour of cryptocurrency. We go over charts. We've caught a couple of really good trades in the Power Hour. We talked about ONT at a ridiculous price. Some of the guys here, Constantine's in the Power Hour, Casey's in the Power Hour, Robert's in the Power Hour. So a bunch of guys in the Power Hour. We've caught some pretty decent trades in real time, which was really nice and lucky. So yeah, so go ahead and check that out if you guys are interested. Links down below. ICX. I think I have ICX here as well. So ICX is fairly neutral here after the kind of Bitcoin FUD. This did move a little bit more than WAN did, but it's looking pretty good. It's holding steady here. You're gonna want volume to kind of flag out a little bit, and you're gonna wait to you're gonna want it to flag out, volume to subside, and then you're gonna want to see some good accumulation. Maybe pick it at a bottom point, but there's no definitive pattern right here. Your good buy point was like right here or right here. That was like your really good buy point. And yeah, Casey, IOTA is way up. I had IOTA up here. I was looking at it just before I went live here. All right, guys, just going to look at a few more coins. I'm going to head out and do some work. Yeah, we'll look at ONT there. All right, look at it. IOTA on the 15-minute. We have a nice green candle here. Looking beautiful. Looks like this thing's going to continue. That's a really big green candle. Maybe not continue so much. We'll have to... Yeah, I would not be FOMOing into IoT at this level. Wait for some kind of a consolidation on some time frame for an entry point. Really on some time frame. It looks like it may have some legs to it. It's a little high right now, though. It's a little high right now. Wait for some kind of a consolidation. But we did just break out of this little area right here. We're in the 16.5 level. Something like that. So we are breaking out a little bit, about 5% from a much longer term perspective. Yeah, it could be maybe do a 20% bounce or so in IoT, at least against Bitcoin. So let's go ahead and check out ONT. That was one of those ones we caught. We caught ONT, guys, like no BS right here. We caught ONT right here. We got ONT right there. Sub 30,000 Satoshis, guys. Sub 30,000 Satoshis. I don't think everyone held on to the trade, but so ONT's looking good. It's consolidating nicely. Volume is drying out. You're going to want to wait for it to probably break a higher high of some kind. You're going to want some kind of a signal, maybe over this maybe this 60,000 Satoshi level. You're going to want it to break something. All right, I wouldn't just buy into it. I would wait for some kind of a bottoming action. So here's some bottoming action right here. Here's a nice high volume bottom candle, then a subsequent reversal. Maybe wait for something like that. Oh, there you go, Alan. Alan bought ONT. Are you still in it, Alan? Sold it at 488. Cool. I don't know what that is in terms of Bitcoin money here, but Abe, how you doing? Eve, right? There you go. Yeah, you get in the Power Hour through the website. You can go to realcrypto.com. And then I've got Power Hour right here. And then you can just fill out this form. It is $50 a month for the service, you know, $50 a month there, but we do 1 hour every day, you know, pretty much answer any question that comes through there. And yeah, it's a lot of fun. I like it. Litecoin EOS. How long will NEO continue? XRP. Let's go look at a few of those. We've got, what do we got here? IoT. Let's look at XRP. Don't look at XRP a whole lot these days, which is probably not a good thing. You should look at all these coins. Okay. So XRP basically fudded out right with Bitcoin and a subsequent nice pop there. Very interesting action. No definitive chart pattern here to buy out of. On the 15-minute, it looks like there was a little bit of a chart pattern. You could have bought right here at the 75.60 level if you were so inclined. It's a little extended here, and we are starting to consolidate. So I don't necessarily anticipate. That's a nice green candle. Closes really good on that candle. Closes really good. This is like the first pullback that XRP has had on this 15-minute time frame since this run. This could be, I say could be, it's not my kind of trade generally, but it could be a decent place to take an entry. I really emphasize could because, like I said, it's not my kind of trade. But usually, what you see on these run ups, like you have a little run up here, you'll see one or two red candles, um, kind of a little pause as they continue. And so, if this is one of those pauses, then you could see a much further upside here in XRP. But that's very, very speculative, and you have to understand that that's a risky proposition. But I would much rather buy off of this declining trend line, something down here, something in this area, than I would like to buy up here. But on a nice steep pullback like this, if volume isn't too aggressive, then yeah, go ahead and maybe you can take an entrance there. Crypto Crown, how you doing? You know what? I too hope they appreciate it too. Crypto Crown. How you doing, buddy? So yeah, we talked about XRP. There's a couple other ones that were mentioned. Oh, LTC. Everyone forgets about Litecoin, including myself sometimes. That's not fair to Litecoin. GDAX, Litecoin USD. So again, not much of a chart pattern here. Not much of a chart pattern here in USD. We did kind of break out from here. Volume's okay. The move isn't spectacular, though. I mean, let's take a look at this move in conjunction with history. The move's not that aggressive. We've seen much more aggressive moves out of Litecoin. This is kind of showing a little bit of laziness in terms of Litecoin. Doesn't mean it can't continue or get more aggressive, but usually what happens, these first moves kind of show you, think of it like, what's a good way to put this? It's almost like bouncing a ball, right? The first bounce that you're going to throw, take a ball, throw it at the ground. The first bounce is going to be the highest. The second will probably will have a little less momentum. The third will have a little less momentum. So when you have little momentum to start with, it doesn't really bode well. And that's all I'll say about that. Someone's mentioned GBT a few times. Let's go look at GBT. No. Next is Vlad wants sub, Vlad gets sub. Okay, what just happened? Where am I? Oh, okay, I'm on the 15-minute time frame. Sorry guys, I just got lost. Ooh, very interesting there. I think we talked a little bit about sub over here. I don't remember exactly what I said, but I do remember drawing these trend lines. I do remember this kind of a W pattern here. And then now this is a very nicely well-defined cup with handle. Very well-defined cup with handle here. At least a cup. Wait to see if it handles. This could be pretty nice. I love these well-defined patterns. I really do. The volume signature leaves a little bit to be desired, to be quite honest with you. And that's all I'm going to say about that. Is the volume signature leaves a little bit to be desired, but price pays. Go with price. It's consolidating now. Let it consolidate. You can enter on maybe one of these pullbacks with some bottoming action, or on a subsequent breakout over this, basically the 7,000 Satoshi level. But sub looking good, Vlad. Looking very good. So Aid is mentioning measured moves on ontology. Yeah, Aid, you can do those measured moves. They're very powerful. And I believe it is 15% from the last high, if I remember correctly. I did not cover AST or ADA. Let's go ahead and do that. Let's look at ADA right quick. So we covered ADA. Oh, it was in the power hour. I think it was yesterday's power hour. We talked about, this looks weird. Okay, what am I on? I'm on, what exchange? Binance. I think I looked at Bittrex. Okay, there's my lines. There we go. That looks better. So we did cover ADA in the power hour a couple days ago. We talked about this trend line. We talked about this trend line, and both subsequently were broken. And ADA moving higher right now, looking well. Now it's starting to consolidate. We're still kind of Remember we talked about ICX in this consolidation area right here? ADA is doing the same thing. It's just consolidating. It's just sitting here consolidating. Not much of a chart pattern to buy off of. There is a little bit of a resistance area kind of at the 35,000 Satoshi level. So if you can see increased volume over there, that would be a very good safe entry, something like that. But the ADA is doing something similar. We're living above this line, which indicates that there's some support here. It was supported here. Subsequently moving higher. The volume is very nice. This is a great volume signature. Lots of green, albeit all that weird Bitcoin red FUD right there. But, you know, nothing screaming buy me right now. Nothing screaming buy me. Really, the price and the volume should get you into this coin. It's a little high. Let's see what the 15 minutes says. Yeah, you can see we had a nice flurry of green come in there off of this kind of little flag pattern. All right, so if you guys like these coins, you have to watch them. All right, you can't get involved up here. You guys have to watch them and get involved down lower, or even here, or even here. You guys have to get involved lower. Encash, please. All right, so we did look at Encash here. It broke out of this this descending triangle pattern here. What are those two lines? Oh, these are potential stops. Okay, these are potential stops. We were talking about it over here. If it broke out, where would your stop be? It'd be here and here. And it looks like they went down just enough to take out some stops and then continued higher. Not the most bullish pattern right here. There's other ones that appear to have a little bit more momentum behind them. This looks like it has a lot of sideways action in its future to me. Venn cup and handle. Yes. Yeah, we did talk about Venn, and yes, it is a cup with a handle. And right now it's kind of attempting to do something, but you really need to see some decreasing volume before it flattens out and then continue going. ENG in the power hour before? I don't know if we've looked at ENG in the power hour. To be quite frank with you, I don't recall. Interesting sideways price action. So here's one of those coins. Here's one of those coins that kind of has a very classic crypto pattern to it. They love to do this. They love to V bottom out, put in, this one has kind of a rounded bottom similar to what Bitcoin just had, right? Then you have basically a flat top. And then as it kind of rounds out on the right side here, usually this isn't a rounding bottom. Usually this is a pennant of some kind. And so we can probably draw this right here as the form of pennant. And then as it gets closer to the apex of these patterns, it tends to break out, or at least move up. It may not break out tremendously, but you said you looked at AST. I don't remember. Let's look at it again. Yeah, we did look at AST. So AST is consolidating outside of this declining trend line here. The volume's looking really good, though. If this thing breaks out of this 42.88 level, then maybe you can go ahead and take a position, but make sure volume is on your side. What do I think of Verge? I think Verge is great. We had a good time with Verge in the chat room there. Okay, I don't have Verge up here. And Verge, let's do Bittrex. I can't remember if it's Bitcoin or USD. We have not looked at ETH, Theo. You are correct. That is possible. We have the technology to look at ETH. I'll just say that. We have the technology. So I'm really not a little happy with Verge based on this big red candle here. I'm not super happy with Verge right now, to be honest with you. Although it's holding up nicely since it's kind of FUD, but it was pointing lower earlier today, and it has not rallied with everything else. It's not really near its highs. It's more towards the lows. So this needs a lot more time to play out. I said this in the power hour. Basically, guys, all of these coins that were setting up to do something just got hit in the face by Mike Tyson. yesterday, late yesterday, early today, and it's going to take a little bit of time for some of them to, shake that off. So let's go ahead and look at some ETH. Ethereum. Oh yeah, look at that. Yeah, it looks like maybe I should have known better. I think I kind of advised to stay away from ETH. That may have not have been a great decision. I even said it before. ETH kind of had a relief rally behind it because it's been so weak. ETH has just been so weak, and it looks like it's having increasing volume, which is good. Increasing volume is good for Ethereum. It's blown past where I thought it could get to here, so yeah, my advice on ETH was probably not the best. Probably not the best, and when we were talking about that. One of the few, actually. My advice has been pretty good lately. Good volume going up here. I like it. It's a little too extended to get involved right here. You want to have a nice base, but yeah, it looks good. A little extended, though. I wouldn't enter here. Sucks when I miss something. Pisses me off. XLM. We haven't looked at XLM, have we? I'm just going to call next on XLM. I'm just going to say next on XLM here. There's not a lot going on. No real great price action. Big red volume candles. It's not moving to the upside. So just next. Do something else. Dragon Chain SONM. Oh, that's SONG. I don't know what SONM is. If you guys can give me symbols rather than names, that would be good. Buck's asking, is 2,400 out of the question now? So 2,400 Buck was on the low end of my range for Bitcoin. Keep in mind that was on the low end of the range. I do still think we go lower. We are due a bounce though. If you guys remember a video I had a couple videos ago called I don't remember the name of it, but on the thumbnail it basically said the great fake out of 2018. What it was referring to, so this is the 2013 chart in Bitcoin. It was referring to, this kind of big throw up. Not throw up. This big upward movement in Bitcoin and then the subsequent rollover. Okay, we could be starting this type of a movement. So we could be getting higher. We could go a decent amount higher. As a matter of fact, I've been saying 9,100, maybe 10,000, kind of to the most recent area. If you notice in this 2013, if you notice on this 2013 chart, this high came over towards this low. You see that? It kind of respected this level right here. It respected this level. So it probably will come up to a prior level and then roll over again, wherever that may be. We have not looked at NEO. Let's look at NEO. Let's take a look at some NEO. NEO. All right. So NEO is slowly moving higher. The one thing about NEO is it had a pretty decent run up, but it wasn't like an extreme run up, only about 18% to the upside here. That's not a very big run up for a lot of cryptos. We've seen some of them do 30+%. And so this move not very aggressive on NEO. And so if you kind of look at this, we have an up thrust and a flag and then some kind of weird movement, then it rolls over. It looks very similar to like what's happening here. A flag, an up thrust, some weird movement. Maybe we roll over. I would avoid this chart right now. It's really going to have to get over this 85,000 Satoshi level with some really good volume. Metal. I think you have asked for that a few times there. Or a couple of people have. There's quite a few people here. Can't say exactly who's asking for what. Metal. Go look at another chart. Don't look at metal. If you have a specific question regarding metal, that's great. But there's nothing about metal that says buy me. Absolutely nothing. Nebel will moon soon. And we'll take a look at ABT. Then I'm going to get out of here, ladies and gentlemen. Going to head out of here for a kind of an impromptu live stream. Kind of fun. Haven't done this in a while. Very nice. So this is interesting. Nice rounding action here. What you're going to want to see here is volume really start to increase. The problem here is that there's this big block of volume. I don't know what the hell's going on here. This is, I don't understand these big blocks. If someone can explain to me why we go from these lows to these highs in terms of volume, I don't know what happens with that, and it really freaks me out. Really freaks me out. But it is rounding up, having a series of higher highs and higher lows. You could possibly enter off of this, something like this, off of this trend line, but it has to be on decent volume. All right, it has to be on decent volume. And someone mentioned, yeah, Dash, a couple mentions for Dash. I haven't looked at Dash in a long time. It's one of those coins I just kind of forget about for whatever reason. So this is against Bitcoin, maybe against the dollar. Weird volume again. I hate that. There we go. Looking good against the dollar. Yeah, very interesting right here. I kind of like this. So yeah, Dash could be due a little bit of a pop. I don't think it's going to be anything extreme. I could be wrong about that. And you're sitting right now at kind of the breakout point. We have a lack of volume now, however. So, your better entry point was down here. Obviously, we always look at these after the fact. So yeah, without a lot of volume coming in here, I would expect this to pull back. ABT, you say recent ICO, you perk my ears up. I don't see ABT on Coinigy, so unfortunately, I can't look at it. BNT. All right, guys, this is about it. It's the last one I'm going to take, and then we'll go ahead and head out of here from here. Thanks for joining me today. Appreciate you guys. I'll check. I did want to look at BNB. We'll look at BNB too. Then we'll head out. This is looking okay. It's a little. So this is a consolidation area right here. This is a very thin coin. Ooh, 6% stop loss. That's a little rich for me. So I would want to buy this on a breakout of this 38.3 Satoshi level, and then maybe something like that. But it's not my favorite. Not my favorite setup. And yeah, BNB. We didn't look at BNB today in the power hour. That's an interesting one. Oh no, we did look at BNB today in the power hour. We said wait for it to do something. Ooh, actually looks better here than it did in the power hour. Nice bull flag setup here in BNB. Look at the increased green volume. BNB possibly looking healthy. Looking pretty healthy here. You maybe could anticipate this actually doing something. So this is setting up. This is setting up to move, guys, from what it looks like to me. So keep an eye on it. I wouldn't buy it right now, but if you did want to give it a little bit of room, you do have kind of a 4% stop all the way down to here. But this is looking pretty good. Wait for a breakout on good volume. And yet, Tron's the last one we're looking at. You guys mentioned good coins we haven't looked at in a while. There you go, Tron. Yep, this is an avoid right now as well. Really an avoid. It really needs to turn around. Really needs to turn around here and do something. It needs to point upward rather than pointing downward. But because it's pointing downward, maybe keep an eye on it and wait for some reversal patterns to occur. So, all right, guys, thanks for joining me on this extreme stream. It's been fun. And, yeah, I'll try to do this more often. This was pretty fun here. All right, guys, be safe with Bitcoin. Don't FOMO into it. Don't FOMO out of it. Have good, sound trading strategies. The declining volume here in Bitcoin, Abdullah, you are correct. That is, the volume is declining. That is good with this type of a pattern. That means that there's no sellers coming in here selling this instantly. So, like I said, Bitcoin could continue, maybe up towards that 9,000 to 10,000 level. All right, guys, thanks for joining me today. Check out that power hour if you are so inclined, and I will see you guys next time.